3 Mega Creep comebacks? Easy stuff for Newbee. TI9 Groups Day 3. It's the end of the third day of groups at TI9, the final full day, moving day as we called it, and a lot of finalised results in terms of where the teams will end up at the end of groups heading into the main event. I'll get to that in a moment, but before I do, introduce the two people with me. Adam, as always, welcome back. How was your third day experience?
It was good. Lots of sick DotA, lots of Mega Creep comebacks, lots of weird mids.
Yeah, I mean, the number of Mega Creep comebacks at this event feels like it's off the charts. I can't remember there ever being this much at another TI or indeed any other tournament, really. Alliance alone, they've thrown 2 games where they had Mega Creeps, so be pretty disappointed with that, I'm sure.
And then Newbee alone has won 3.
That's a strategy now. One more win with Mega Creeps and that's a legit strat for them. Let yourself get megaed and then just come back and win anyway.
Yeah, I don't think they feel fully comfortable unless they have 2 racks down.
Yeah, that was the classic Eternal Envy thing, wasn't it? 2 racks down, he becomes online, and Newbee have gone one better.
Yeah, now you've activated my final form.
Yeah. Also joining us, in place of Marco, who can't join us today or tomorrow, a lesser spotted appearance of guest Nick. Welcome. How have your whole group's been? You've been enjoying TI from what you've been able to catch?
Hey, it's good to be back. Yeah, this TI has been absolutely crazy, and we're only in the group stages. I had a lot of fun so far.
Yeah, for sure. And it can only get better in the main event, I hope, unless IO carry becomes stupidly broken in the pubs that will happen on Monday on everyone's day off, or Tiny Ags or whatever it is. But so far, so good. This has been another incredible TI. Before we go on, like I said, we'll just cover the groups, how they stand. Group A, at the top, LGD and Team Secret. LGD 2-0'd Secret in the last series of the day today, so they are atop of Group A, and I believe that's final. They now are guaranteed first place. Secret are guaranteed upper bracket, and then after that, there's a lot of teams still fighting for an upper bracket place. Newbee on 8 points, then Mineski, Alliance and TNC all on 7 points, and Team Liquid keeping their upper bracket hopes alive, although they need other results to go their way as well as getting wins from all of their remaining games if they want an upper bracket place. They're on 6 points. Keen Gaming, they're guaranteed lower bracket berth. And our first eliminated team, Chaos Esports Club, Rip Matumba Man, Rip Misery. The stack that a lot of people did have going out in the groups has indeed been toppled. Looking over to Group B, OG, 6 wins, 1 loss, and 6 wins, 1 draw and no losses. They're guaranteed first place in Group B. Some more stellar performances today. Vici Gaming on 8 points just behind them. Then Navi on 7, EG on 6, and then Fnatic, Infamous, RNG and VP all on 5 points. All currently in the lower brackets, all on EG's tail. So still a lot to play for on the final day in Group B also. And finally, NIP, they're not technically eliminated yet. They're only on 2 points. I believe they need to 4-0 all of their remaining games and have one of those 5-point teams lose all of their games. So it's looking very dire for PPD's stack. Although they still have a chance. Not quite gone yet.
Feels bad.
Yeah, it does feel bad. I wanted NIP to do a bit better. I wouldn't have minded Infamous or RNG taking that bottom spot, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
They've still got to play EG too. And it seems very unlikely that NIP will 2-0 EG.
Yeah, certainly.
Peter's got to reach deep into the hate in his heart and come out with some drafts to beat EG.
Yeah. I was looking at the scenarios and I almost feel like, because I think they play EG right at the end of the day, last series. So if NIP don't 2-0 Infamous, which is, Infamous have been looking pretty good really, so they may well fall to Infamous. Then NIP are guaranteed to be knocked out, and I almost feel like that's scarier for EG. If they need to win to get up a bracket and they're coming up against a PPD stack with nothing to lose because they're already eliminated, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see how kind PPD's feeling in that last game.
Oh, I feel like he'll try and knock them down.
Yeah, no doubt.
It could just for anybody, just for the competitive sake of the tournament, you know. It's like, well, we've already come in last. We might as well spoil somebody else's tournament.
Yeah. Let's just start with the top of the ticket. OG, another... How many series did they play today? 2. So they 2-0'd VP at the start of the day and then 2-0'd Fnatic in the later series. Adam, I believe you caught most of OG's games before you went to bed. I then rewatched VP when I woke up. Another IO carry win, and a brutal one at that. And then in the second game, more of the same. OG looking really scary, in the groups at least.
Yeah, that game 1 was a bit of a joke. Like that wasn't even close. 21-minute dismantling of Virtus Pro.
Yeah.
I was kind of chatting with a friend who hasn't played in a long time, hasn't really been watching. More like TI's here back, I'll watch. And so I got to explain to him like a lot of changes and stuff. So it was pretty cool. He's like, oh, Tiny's Avalanche? Is that like a bunch of stuns now? Like, yep, they reworked that. Like, he hadn't seen really Pango. And Carry IO, I kind of told him what it was supposed to do. And then Anna got level 15. He got the Ags. He got the talent. Plus 75 ball damage. And they won right there. Because my friend was very excited to see level 25 Wisp, and he's like, do you think this game is even going to get to level 25? I'm like, no, this game's not even going to get to level 20 IO. He was going to get level 15 and they're going to break base, just kill everybody.
Yeah.
But that game was mostly on Tops and Tiny. Yeah, just wrecking face.
Yeah. It's funny because OG played the carry IO in the later series against Fnatic, and in that game, it was very much we need to hold Fnatic's pressure lineup with a Timbersaw until this IO comes online. And it was, they fell behind to Fnatic, and it really felt like they were playing for this specific power supply. But against VP, Anna could have been any hero. He could have been AFK and they would have won. It was really stompy. And like you say, Topson, he watched the replays of Sumail completely destroying him in TI last year, and he's learned how to play the tiny mid. And like you say, pretty embarrassing for Virtus Pro, honestly, who are struggling in general. I know they did 2-0 Infamous in their other series today, but...
What's happened to Virtus Pro? Consistently through the year, they're one of the strongest teams, and whenever we get to an international, they just look so weak. And
they were a lot better at the last international. They at least made upper bracket.
That is true.
Yeah. But they're like... struggling, like I'm not on the same page. It used to be they were so crisp, and it doesn't feel like the same.
I agree. I feel like they're not on the same page, especially against OG. OG made VP look like a team that couldn't keep up. OG played so fast paced in this game, constantly getting more kills.
But that used to be the VP way.
You
win every lane and outpace everyone.
Yeah.
But OG somehow often lose every lane and then still outpace everyone. It's crazy.
It's like when they lose, they already have a plan for later. Feels like their drafts specifically have a spike when they lose early, and then if they aren't playing towards something like that, they just win the lanes with a different lineup. And with the VP, OG picked Enchantress, Elder Titan, Tiny both games. I think they're really high on Elder Titan. I mean, everybody's very high on Elder Titan, and they seem to play. I mean, Seb plays Enchantress really well, so they're just very crisp. They seem to be. They have the gameplay, the team fight. The high level strategy. They have that all down. They're very crisp, and then on top of that, they are totally fine picking off the wall stuff, and I think that's what separates you from someone like EG that seems to only play standard heroes. So once
EG have one way of playing, and it's good, but it's all they know. And once it's dismantled, they're in trouble.
Yeah,
we've seen it at previous TIs. It's carried them to third last year, I think. They were doing really well, and then once the teams worked out how to beat them, they just couldn't go any further.
Yeah, and it feels like even in the group stages of this TI, at the start, EG was struggling, particularly day one, and they really were picking almost identical drafts and strategies in those games, and now they've started to mix it up a little bit, not as much obviously as the teams that have a bigger cushion like OG and Secret, but even just the small mixing and rolling the dice they have been doing with their strategies and picks seems to have paid off a bit, as they are more on the up than they were at the start. We'll finish off OG. I watched OG versus Fnatic in the later series. Game 1 was actually an incredibly cool game to watch. It was NA trio cast, which is always a treat, one of my favourite casting combinations. Super brawly first game. Topson played a mid Earth Spirit. That was really cool. And Anna Slark is unbelievable. Anna Slark and Ember, he played... Well, Ember's like his classic hero, and now Slark, I feel like, is bonkers how this hero survives. It just doesn't make sense. Watching these fights, just seems to get out on 5 HP multiple times in the same fight. And the second game between OG and Fnatic, it was a classic Kyle moment where Kyle just couldn't believe, you know how sometimes he gets so absorbed in the Dota and it's like, oh, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It was, he was in that kind of mood, so that was fun to watch. And Fnatic were crushing, relatively crushing OG. They picked a Timbersaw, and Ice was having a really, really good game against a lot IO Core, obviously, and Earthshaker and Legion Commander and Troll. So they couldn't deal with this Ice Timber, but they basically just delay the game enough, and they win one fight at around 28 minutes, and then they got into Roche. They just Roche straight after, and after Fnatic had been winning fights for the last 20 minutes and not even getting any tier 2s. And that was kind of another brutal display in the sense that it felt like OG coming back and winning was inevitable, even though Fnatic were ahead the whole game. So that was an interesting game to watch. And OG now guaranteed first place in Group B.
Wisp 4-0.
Yeah, Wisp 4-0. I'll be really interested to see if another team does try it. I don't think they will, though.
Surely it's something you have to have practiced, right? So not any team is going to be able to just whip it out.
Yeah, you'd certainly.
It's one thing to see Anna do it, it's another thing to play it yourself. And I think the way OG draft, they don't just pick the Wisp carry by itself. There's always like combinations. It works with the rest of the team.
Yeah. They always have a heal, whether it be like Enchantress or Legion Commander or Treant Protector.
The other day, yeah.
And then they also have somebody, with the exception of the third time, the game against VP, they've always had somebody that can attack pretty fast too. They have either like a Troll or a Wind Ranger. So then when it gets to super late game, not that it ever really has, but if it was to get there, IO can do the tether target attack and then have a Maelstrom with a Troll or a Wind Ranger or something.
Yeah, Fnatic, particularly Jabs, he played Morphling in the second game and really didn't, particularly itemizing, he didn't really look like a comfortable Morph player. He went for a first item Lincoln Sphere for no particular reason. The only reason that the casters could think about was LC Jewel, but Seb had Max W and built Spirit Vessel. Jewel wasn't a spell in this game, really. It was a luxury spell. So Morph effectively spent 5k on an item that basically gave him nothing, and that was really detrimental for Fnatic's hopes. At the start of the day, we saw Alliance versus Newbee. We mentioned at the top of the show about how this is another Mega Creeps comeback. Nick, you said you saw the first game of Alliance Newbee? Was that the Mega Creeps comeback?
That was the Mega Creep comeback. Mega Creep comeback, excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was crazy. It ended with not just Mega Creep comeback, but Newbee had 2 Divine Rapiers.
Double Rapier. Gyrocopter versus... Oh, they just bought 2 on the Gyro.
One for Gyro, one for the Anti-Mage.
Yeah, Anti-Mage got rid of Battle Fury.
Wow.
And then,
which is a brave decision in Mega Creeps, you think, but it worked.
Yeah.
He attacked fast enough to cut down the waves without the cleave. And the other interesting part of that game that we were talking about a bit before the podcast was snaking on the axe. He bought an Ags, which is not something we see very often on the Ags. I had to look up what it does. And what it does do is it makes your Battle Hunger an AoE spell, and it also does 30% damage reduction to whoever's hit by it. So we're trying to work out why he picked it. One thing is the Ags is really good for pushing out the Mega Creeps. You just throw it down on a wave, and once you're level 25 with the 120 DPS Battle Hunger talent, it does melt the waves. But I guess the damage reduction is also really strong in team fights as well.
Right. And Newbee, they seem like an impressive team. Adam, the NA Hope, the hope of North America, Newbee at TI9.
Looking like it. I think they're playing more comfortably, playing better than EG right now. So they are the great NA Hope.
They'll be hoping for upper bracket. They look like they're set for an upper bracket, barring disaster tomorrow. They only have to play one game against Mineski.
They might just have to win one game maybe to lock it up. They are 8-6. They have a lot of teams breathing down their neck, but I think they should be able to snag a top 4. The Mega Creep game, the first one, since they win so many of them, that was like a just anti-mage versus morphling slog fest where neither of them had died by 45 minutes. Yuar was like having to cut all the waves, keep them in the game. CCNC on Gyro had like died a bunch. He really wasn't a hero. And but then it got kind of just progressively later and later into the game. Gyro starts to get items. Eventually, like, oh my god, Gyro's caught up. And Gyro with Molyneux and then Ags and Satanic combined with Rocket Barrage can push out basically 2 lanes of Mega Creeps without even like taking any damage. It's just absurd amounts of D-push, and then he would bots into a fight. It was just crazy. I would recommend everyone watch the game. It was very cool late game stuff. A lot of really sick Taiga Tusk snowball saves, and then MSS felt like he didn't have any spells still on Rubik for a big portion of the late game, and then he finally got Tusk Snowball, and then he started making a bunch of sick Tusk Snowball saves as a Rubik, and Snaking showed why late game Axe is so scary to deal with for really any lineup. Lots of really sick calls that allowed Anti-Mage and Gyro to go free.
Yeah. And I mean, the Berserker's cool AoE when you get that talent, obviously piercing BKB, it's crazy strong. And you can't, I believe you can't purge it. So, for example, Legion Commander W and a Photic Shield, that doesn't stop the taunt. Am I correct in thinking that?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. So, one of the strongest disables that there is.
There were just so many cool features to that game as well. Like the Mickey on his Morphling was transforming into his allied Sanking, and could just stun all around the map with the crazy extra the range that Morph gives you when you cast spells. And then that with the 2 waveform charges and the Sanking stun with extra range, he was just all over the map, but it still wasn't enough to win the game.
Yeah, then late game he can become Gyro or Anti-Mage, but either of those.
But I didn't see him do that so much. I saw him becoming the Sanking more. I don't know why, because you think the Gyro, if you get the flat cannon on the Morphling, is so strong.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that as much.
Yeah, that and the Rocket Barrage and the Blinks from an AM. But it was a crazy game.
Yeah.
And that was just the start of the craziness for the day.
Yeah. The other Mega Creeps comeback, which is escaping my memory. Oh, yes.
Newbee versus Keen.
Yeah. Newbee versus Keen Gaming. 60-minute... Wait. Oh, wow. Wait. So there was 3 today?
Yeah. Did you not know that Newbee did it twice in one day?
Oh, my goodness. What? So, wow. I didn't even realise that. Because I watched a Mega Creep comeback. That's not even this game.
No. This is a 69-minute Newbee Mega Creep comeback. This one's a little bit... They had Mega Creeps. They didn't have them for very long. The first game, the Gyro Anti-Mage game, they fought against Mega Creeps for a long time. Relatively, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. This game, they got Mega'd, but they were also taking the throne while it was happening. So,
right. Okay.
It was more like it wasn't necessarily that close of a base race, but it was technically they were mega creeped when they won. So I'm counting it.
Yeah, of course, got to count them all.
Plus, it's like a 69-minute game, so it's like very late game scenario.
Yeah,
Stuff.
MSS has been really impressive. I know he played a really good Pango, position 4 Pango, which is something I can always respect because the times I've tried it, I've just completely failed. So
yeah, he was super farmed.
Yeah, Greaves, Ags, Basher, Octarine, Diffusal. That's a carry.
He used every bit of that Octarine. He was felt like he was permanently rolling thundered, just balling all over the place. There was this really sick Roche fight where they're all okay. So everybody's playing around the Roche. Yuar is a gyrocopter. He's in there trying to take Roche in. He had a relatively long BKB. It felt like it was longer than 5 seconds. It might have just been 5 seconds looking at it. But he BKBs preemptively because Keen has a Naga Siren. And he doesn't want sleep. Then they waddle in and take the Roche. Right? So he BKBs. I think he might get bashed or maybe he just doesn't do enough damage. But he doesn't kill the Roche until... I don't even think he kills the Roche. He gets slept. Roche is on like 1% health, and everybody on Newbee is asleep. And you're like, oh my, they're like throwing the game, and then all of a sudden this rolling Pango ball just comes into the Roshan, and I think he snatches the Aegis. I don't think he gets the kill on the Roche, but he just picks up the Aegis and like rolls away, and you're like, all right. Yeah. Saved the day. Yeah.
Well, he's been very impressive. And snaking as well, to be fair. Surprising a lot of people with how strong they are. Like VGJ Storm did last season with a similar team.
Yeah. I would say this game might even be cooler to watch because I don't know if it was cooler, but there was Mars mid. Not a lot of Mars picked, especially as a mid. That's the first Mars games I've seen. And then 11 played a Underlord. So that was really crazy to watch where they would just take a building or take a fight and then they would push high ground, force all these buyouts, and then they would just Dark Rift away. And they just kept Dark Rifting away over and over and over again. And they would try and force staff somebody to where they would leave somebody behind, but it just never worked out. They always got these 5-man Dark Rifts out. And it got to basically Supreme late game. And Mars, I think, got the Roche. This is like 4th Roche at this point because there are a lot of Ags buffs eaten. Keen had 4 Ags buffs. And Naga doesn't get the Roshan. And then they go to like split 2 waves. Naga ends up on the Radiant top shrine area alone. And he just dies, and nobody comes to like coming towards the play to him. But the Newbee, they're like, okay, that's a nice kill, but we can't do anything. We still got to push out all these waves, And then about a minute later, it was 11 on the Underlord and then the Leshrac. They were just pushing out bottom lane in the Radiant jungle. And then those 2 heroes just die. And it's like, what are you guys doing? And then they just like crumbled. They just lose Naga on one side of the map. Then half a minute to a minute later, they lose 2 more heroes. And then they're just 3 heroes down. And then the game just kind of ends.
This sounds like how a lot of pub games ends.
It was a very pub ending, which is funny for how coordinated they were before with like all the Dark Rifts out and all the sleeps and they made Mars look so strong with his with the Arena of Blood and he had Ags and just kept critting everybody.
One thing I noticed a lot, threw, and it seems to be in this game as well. Everyone is buying Hex. So many Hexes going around, even on
Hex is super strong.
But you might not think of it normally. Like the Mars picked up a Hex, where you might think, oh, he wants more damage or something, but no. I guess it's just
CC&C has a Hex on Ember Spirit.
That's interesting. And then you see it often rushed on Ogre, and I've seen it on things like a Grimstroke, rushed out on some position 4s.
Yeah. Another really weird item this game was snaking on Enchantress, bought a refresher orb, and about his only other items were BKB, Solar Crest, Hurricane Pike. So I don't know if they really valued refresh BKB, or if they just really valued refresh heal.
So did Yawar have a refresher as well?
Yeah, Yawar had a refresher.
So maybe they do really value the refresh BKB, and then
double Satanics.
Use other spells as well. Yeah,
interesting. The other crazy mega creeps come back, and there's no doubt about this one.
There's another one.
There's no doubt about this one. Yeah, Chaos overcoming TNC. 86-minute game, and that was game 2. Game 1 was 58 minutes, so almost 2 hour plus games here. Chaos, stellar performance from Keizu on Legion Commander, had over 500 dual damage by the end. Very quick reactions. He had BOTs too. Anytime a hero on his team was gone on, he would instantly BOTs too on top of them, and then save them with his W, which was honestly game-winning, these plays. TNC, or rather Chaos, were holding against Megas for 25 minutes. They had a 50k gold lead at one point, but when you can't really push into TNC's base when they've got an Arc Warden with a million Spark Wraiths everywhere. It was absolutely awful. In the end, they do overcome it though, throwing a lot of illusions. I mean, they had illusions to throw at these Spark Wraiths, but it was still kind of gross. It was almost Techie's level of, just try and come up this high ground, even though you've got 50k gold lead. But a pretty fun game all around. I was anxiously watching the clock at the end though, because I needed it to end before 89 minutes for my compendium prediction. This is a fun one, and a nice game for Chaos to have taken. The only game they won today out of their 3 series, and like I said, they're off now. So at least they have this Mega Creeps come back to look back on.
Just looking at this, the series duration was 2 hours and 52 minutes. That's disgusting
absurd,
for 2 games. 2 games, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Some best of 5s don't last that long.
Yeah, that includes the draft as well, I guess, because... Oh, man.
Right.
What did Matamba Man play the game, too? Did he... Looks like he played Blesh, and then Mated was the Void.
It was a position 5 Misery Windranger. That was interesting.
Just looking at the items in that game, everyone has Boots of Travels 2, except a few have Boots of Travels 1. The only hero that doesn't have anything is Chen on TNC. Io only has no boots according to Dota buff. Maybe he had to sell them to pick up some key items.
Good old AU.
This statistic made me laugh so much. AU, 1 hour, 26-minute game, 4k hero damage, 4,000 hero damage on the Chen. Yeah. That must be the lowest damage per minute of any pro game. Surely that is just...
I mean, what is he supposed to do?
I mean, he can't do... He built a Hex. He had a Hex 51 minutes
in. But what is he... damage-wise, what is he supposed to do?
Yeah,
it's just a right click. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. Late game Chen, outside of the heal, can feel like, what do I do?
All he did this game was take over creeps, hide them, run into Chaos's base, Arc Warden Tempest double, then BOTs 2 on top of the Chen creep, and then goes for the throne. Because the throne was exposed, they didn't even have tier 4s. So there's a mega creep comeback, plus they had no tier 4s too. So basically TNC could always push Chaos back into their base with some annoying Chen, creep, Arc Warden, Tempest double TP. Ugh.
Yeah, all he had to do was press Solar Crest on a carry and then maybe hex somebody.
Yeah, if he gets lucky, yeah. NIP on the ropes as well, along with Chaos. Adam, you caught much of NIP versus RNG?
Yeah, that was like my second stream. Yeah, second monitor.
NIP not really clicking and just look a bit awkward. I caught them play against Vici where they did take a game, but even that game they had to work so hard for it and they were ahead for so long without actually getting the victory and getting across the line. So
yeah, it's not like they're playing poorly. It's really strange is that they've had leads in a lot of games, and they've had the 2 times they've won, they've had like giga leads, the biggest leads I've seen.
Yeah.
70K in their Fnatic win, which probably won't be rivaled the rest of the tournament. And they've had lots of games where they've been 4 to 5K ahead, and they're in the driver's seat, and then it'll just fall apart for whatever reason. The game 1, RNG just played really well around the map. They just were able to catch the Slark out a couple times. They just blow up somebody with either Lena or Skywrath Mage, and then this is one of the first times I saw Alchemist with a Omni Knight. That's always kind of cool because of the Heavenly Grace on a strength hero.
Yeah,
really nice cleanse on they had Beastmaster Roar for Nip or stun or the arrow, Mirana arrow. So really easy to cleanse that off.
That feels good. In their series against Vici, they lost the first game, not really competitive, and in the second, they had 99% win probability for about half an hour, and every few minutes it would tick down, and it'd be 98%, 97%, 96%, and it was Cat Blitz casting, and they'd be like, "Oh, I've got a really bad feeling that this is not going to end up being an NIP victory," but they did just about get over the hump in that series. Secret, they played 3 series today. They didn't win any of them. They drew the series against TNC 1-1, drew to Chaos, drew to Mineski 1-1, and then got 2-0'd by LGD. Nick, you caught the first of those games against TNC. Secret, not quite as dominant as earlier in the group stages, or do you think they're experimenting particularly, or?
They looked very dominant in game 1, I would say.
Right, okay.
Maybe the laning stage, I can't remember too much who won the laning stage. Probably a bit equal. But then Secret just took all the fights on their terms. Zai made so many good plays on his position. I guess he's position 3 tiny. It's hard to tell with Secret.
This was definitely
a Invoker.
I was just going to say it's definitely one of those tiny 3.5 Zai games. Puppy had more. I was getting towards more farm on Crystal Maiden than Zai that game.
Yeah, Puppy went a crazy build on his CM. But they had Secret such good fights and such good positioning that Gabby on his Void just couldn't get a good chrono, and it wasn't like he was playing that badly. I think just Secret played so well around the Void that Gabby couldn't get a good chrono to turn the game around in their favor.
Yeah.
And there was even one stage where Gabby from Fog time walked in on Zai and chronoed, and Zai with such quick fingers managed to blink out, so it was just an empty wasted chrono. And it's not a bad play by Gabby. They were behind, they had to try something, but just Zai and Secret are too good to let anything like that happen.
Yeah.
That one was the mid 1 Jakiro game also. So that was one of their experimenting with a mid, because Yapsor, it seems 4 Invoker is here to stay. That's standard now. They picked that, but that's old news. Now we're experimenting with mid heroes.
If I saw these heroes picked in my pub, you think, okay, of course Jakiro's position 4, Invoker's going mid. I understand Dota, this is all great. And then when they actually line it up, the Jakiro goes mid, the Invoker goes position 4, Puppy's getting phase boots and bracers on his Crystal Maiden. It's like, what's happening? But Secret is still dominantly winning that game.
Yeah, there's been some funny hero picks, especially from mid 1. In this series against TNC, he plays Jakiro in game 1 and then plays Vengeful Spirit in game 2.
Against a TA?
Against a TA, yeah. Very bizarre strategy. I caught most of this game. They basically played 4 Protect 1 with a Nisha Sniper. Mid 1 going Vlad's AC Aghanims on Vengeful to basically just buff up, put everything he has on Nisha. Zai was basically unkillable. He had a Heart, a Crimson, and a Lotus. But they only had 1 source of damage, and that ultimately was their downfall when they're against a team like with a Bat Rider, who can effectively just nuke a hero straight up in lasso duration, and with an RP to boot. They had too much in the end, TNC, and Secret lost that game.
Well, I guess that game, Venge was the 1 position, right?
Yes.
Okay, mid-snipe, yeah, because I just want to correct myself, because, mid-Venge versus TA would actually just not even be a thing. You'd be level 3 and Venge would be level 6 or something. Or TA would be level 6. You could not actually get a last hit in that lane.
Yeah. I didn't catch the series against Mineski. That was also 1-1. In terms of assessing how weird their drafts were, seems pretty normal. Normal drafting. So I guess Mineski, I mean, they're a good team. Moon played a Tiny in the game that they won. A really good performance, 15 kills. Tiny gets so many kills. I regret not putting this hero as my most highest kill average or most kill, or maybe not highest kill because he gets played in different positions, but highest kills in a game. Mineski continuing their decent performances. Only 2 wins, but taking a game off Alliance and a game off Secret, that's very respectable.
I'm just looking at those games on DotA for the first time. Game 1 was a 24-1 victory to Secret within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That must be one of the most
1955.
Must be one of the most dominant games of the group stage so far. I haven't seen it, but it looks crazy just from the scores.
Yeah, imagine just
Jesus, yeah.
1 kill. That was who died? Zai died. Of course, Zai would die, but he was a Slardar. That was a really funny game. That was a second monitor game for me, and then it's like, oh yeah, okay, they're pushing high ground. In my mind, I was kind of putting the game at 35 minutes or so,
yeah.
And then I look, and Nisha, his items are triple Wraithband, Treads, Lincolns, Blade of Alacrity, and I'm like, oh, this game is really early still. Like, there's no real itemization out there. Just there's finishing, and another mid one. He really seems to like Kunkka, Solar Crest, Pipe. That seems to be his deal.
Right.
I guess you just become so tanky on the Kunkka when you do that. But the question is, can you output enough damage? But it seems like mid one is able to do so.
Yeah, you just need him for control and like auras, and just put the game on Nisha. That was a Giga Stomp. That was really fun to watch if you want to see a game. I mean, it didn't even get to be a 3-2-2, like a kill score.
Yeah.
It was just 23-1.
Yeah, that's a game to watch. Not only if you want to see a stomp, and also if you don't have much time.
Yeah, you can watch a full game.
Yeah, in the duration that you can watch the highlights from one of the Mega Creep comeback games that we talked about. Also, every game in that third set of games in the middle of the day, or I guess in the middle of the day in China, every series was drawn 1-1. So, wow, that's hadn't happened. Last series of the day, Secret played LGD. That was sort of the marquee matchup of the day. The 2 titans of Group A, number 1 and 2, going up against each other, and LGD came out better. Game 1, Secret ran mid-pudge, and it basically just completely failed against an SF.
That sounds like that was what would happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Somnus triple raised him for first blood, and it was just from there on. It was over. SF is a guy like maybe, I guess it's Somnus now. I can't keep up, but gets first blood, instantly ferries out a salve and 3 mangoes, and it's just back to super hard pressure. Pudge has no armor, and SF does get to hit hard when he gets his levels up, even during the laning stage. So that was quite stompy, I suppose, and this Yapsaw Invoker in both games coming out. So that was, like Adam said, it's very much here to stay, particularly for Secret and Newbee.
Yeah, it's MSS and Yapsaw, I think, are the mainstays.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Then the second game, we just watched it. Void Tiny, man. What a combo. Adam, this Void is starting to become a pick. I've seen it quite a lot, actually. Arme loves it.
Yeah, lots of... I don't know if this is maybe just the Chinese teams. It's hard to, remember every team
game.
Picked what, but it's like PSG really like a good Void. I guess Gabby played Void. Maybe it's like a Eastern, like a SEA China thing, because I don't know if I've seen many Western teams run Void, but they make it look good because they pick Ogre Magi or they build Solar Crests, or like in this game too, they also had a Magnus. So I think people are kind of catching on that Void. He's slow. He's a supreme late game, right? Really strong in the mid to super late game, but you got to get him there. And if you give him Bloodlust and you give him Solar Crest and you give him auras, and it's not necessarily a 4 protect 1, but if you just build towards a Void, you make him a lot quicker and you actually kind of play him tempo-y and still farm a bunch. So Yeah, it looked really strong, especially in about the 25-minute mark where they just kept running at Secret, and it seemed like Spectre Nisha died 3 times in a row. Like he died, would have to come back and fight again, die, come back and fight again, die.
Yeah, and it destroys Slark. In the game 1, Arme Void against Nisha's Slark, and when it got to that 30-minute mark, Chrono just destroys this hero.
Yeah, and it's before that, it's not even the Chrono, it's the Time Dilation. Time Dilation is one of the big counters to Slark.
Right, of course, yeah, of course. Also in the second game, Tiny got an Ags. You Chrono, just throw in those trees, you got a Crystallis, soon to be a Daedalus, and the damage is just obscene. So that's a cool combo. LGD might go to that one, because Somnus loves Tiny. That's one of his favourite heroes.
Yeah, that was really cool. Also, a thing I didn't know is if you have Echo Saber on your Tiny, and then you do the tree volley, the Ags, it slows based off of the Echo Saber hit for every tree.
Yeah, so that can't be intended. I heard that. That's crazy that it doesn't go on cooldown, the Echo Saber.
It's so much slow. That is probably...
It's a huge slow as well.
Was that 100% slow for a very short period of time?
Yeah, it's 100% slow for just under a second.
Yeah, that's...
It sounds like unintended, but who knows?
It's TI, so it's in the game now.
So when you throw a tree as Tiny, does it kind of take benefits from, I don't know what you call your item passives?
Your procs and stuff?
It does,
kind of, yeah.
So you have a chance to crit. You have a chance to like crit. That's why everyone's going Daedalus with the Axe as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems weird then that the Echo Saber, the trees don't hit you twice, but they still apply the slow. It's a bit strange. Or do the trees hit you twice? I don't even know.
Well, you throw a bunch of trees, but they only hit you the one
Each
time.
one hits once, so they're not Echo striking, but somehow they're still applying the slow.
Yeah. Na'Vi, they still sit third in Group B. Interesting day today. They drew their... Oh, they played 2 series. They lost 2-0 to Fnatic and then recovered to... Oh no, they lost 4-0, losing to Fnatic and RNG. Wow, that's surprising that they still managed to be third.
Yeah, it started the day 7-3, right? And then ended up 7-7.
Yeah, wow, that's surprising because they hadn't even lost a game yet yesterday. Or lost a series yet yesterday. I caught RNG, their series versus RNG, which is the second series. I don't know the story against Fnatic, but RNG, they banned this Razor in both games, and Na'Vi only get one of their sort of killer quad core of heroes that they have been destroying previous days of TI9. They only get Zayak Urspirit in game 1, and then in game 2 they only get Blizzy Axe. And it just didn't quite work as well for them. I think they've got maybe a limited hero pool, just purely based off results. They might turn it around, but they didn't look as strong as before, and it's probably bad news for Na'Vi fans. I do think that the very specific playstyle that they've been using to win a surprising number of games has kind of been found out a bit. With that said, though, they only have 1 series to play tomorrow against Vici. If they can get a game out of that series with Vici, they'll be on 8 points, and that should be enough for upper bracket. So...
Who are they
if
playing,
you're in upper
Vici?
bracket, you never know. Vici Gaming, yeah.
Yeah, if they go 0-2, they only get 7-9. They can get jumped and end up like 5th, which would be a real feels bad to be 7-3 and then to end up going on a 6-loss streak to get lower bracket.
Yeah, and Vici, they're not guaranteed upper bracket just yet, just mathematically, so it's not as though it's some free random Vici Gaming, let's just have some fun draft. Like, they're going to make sure that they put
they'll
this
be
game
playing
to
for
bed.
at least 1 win for sure. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So we'll have to see where that goes for Na'Vi. Beyond that, word on Team Liquid as well. Liquid, I mean, they're 7th, and they don't look good. I mean, they got some wins today with some interesting strategies. Miracle played a position 1 Earthshaker, which means it's officially been played in every position this event, which I thought was quite funny. He actually played a really good Earthshaker. Huge Echo Slam and Enchant Totems with Daedalus, and he had AC as well, because this game did go reasonably late. Flying around the map doing bits. That was really fun to watch actually in that game. That was in their series at the end of the day against Keen Gaming. And in the second game, it was a We Hard Tinker. That was quite interesting. Keen Gaming picked Old Chicken PA, and Liquid responded with Tinker, obviously a classic PA counter with the laser. Mind Control getting some big black holes on Enigma. That was a cool game to watch, 47 minutes. So, a bit of respite for Liquid fans. They went 2-0 against Keen Gaming, 1-1 against Alliance. Did anyone catch any of the Alliance series? Liquid Alliance?
Was that a Weehaw Timbersaw?
Yes, in game 1, yes.
Yeah, I saw game 1 of that.
Quick for Brood with a Mickey PL. That seems kind of interesting.
That was kind of like, you know how mid 1 Secret versus Alliance was Brood, and he had to go all over the map and make space because the rest of the team was behind. It was like that for this game for Alliance, except Koifa Brood couldn't really make the space because they had a Timbersaw and an Ember Spirit on Liquid. Yeah. So he just followed them all over the map and just kill them. But I mean, Liquid's relatively new, right, with the team formulation. And what are the heroes that were very successful on? I mean, I think Weehaw is a very good player. He might just have a bit of a limited pool, or they don't know how to work him in yet, because Wind Ranger mid is not a thing. And that's kind of how they stomped those tournaments, right?
Yeah.
Prior to TI?
It feels like his TA is really, really strong at this event, but other than TA, I mean, they won with the Tinker, but he didn't look good on it. Timber, yeah, but they've also lost with the Wii Timber.
Yeah.
The Tinker
that's
game,
just like one of his standard heroes, though, is Timber. That's one that he used to play with, like DC and stuff.
Right, yeah. Well, there's the famous clip I always think of, the Wii Tinker, or the Wii Timber rather, where he survives for ages with Lotus and all the rest of it.
That was against Liquid, wasn't it? I think that was against Liquid way back.
I can't remember who it was against.
Any interesting trends to talk about? Like, I've noticed every team has at least one Solar Crest. Kind of cool for pushing around.
Solar Crest is a huge item. People were building Crest. I saw Ice played Magnus, and he went, I think, Vlad's Solar Crest, and then some other team item that you wouldn't traditionally associate with Magnus. That was really interesting. It's almost like the trend away from Blink Dagger and sort of selfish items like that has went originally to team items like Vlad and Pipe and Crimson, and now Solar Crest is very much among them, just to buff up your carry.
But it's not just so much team items, but now it's like Solar Crest and the Lotus Orbs. You kind of have your position 1 who just does a lot of damage, and you just put them ahead hitting the tier 3 towers, and you put a Lotus on them and a Solar Crest. And it becomes really hard for the enemy to stop them munching your buildings. And the rest of your team just stands way far back where they can't be touched.
Yeah, for sure. Solar Crest is definitely a big trend. Beyond that, we mentioned Ogre, the most picked hero at the event, despite having a negative win rate. I don't know if that will continue. It probably will, just because it's a valuable flex. Although I don't
know. I seem to remember another TI is kind of the most picked hero often would just disappear after the group stage. It's like, right now we're at the main event, different ideas. The Ogre's been discovered in all directions. Let's try something else. We'll see.
Story of Earthshaker last TI wasn't picked at all in the group. So, I mean, it was picked, but not relatively compared to the main event, where it was the most contested hero in the finals. And in the group stage, it just wasn't touched through most drafts. So no doubt there will be changes in the meta still to come. In fact, it's Elder Titan and Ogre Magi both joint most picked. Surprising to see ET, another one that this hero just, especially in pubs, just hasn't been on the radar. Suddenly at TI, it's perhaps the strongest position 5, particularly, that we've seen.
Shout out to Gainsworth in the Discord chat for that. Before the group stage started, he was like, "Oh, I hope we see Elder Titan 2 or 3 times. That would be great." And now we've seen it 40 times. So he's getting
43 games.
He's getting his fill of Elder Titan for sure.
Yeah, I must say I'm surprised that Gyrocopter is the most picked carry hero. 34 games of Gyro, and Io has not been picked at all. Io's down at 10 games. So if you'd asked me before this tournament, what's Gyro like? I would have said it's okay with Io, and without Io, it's absolute trash. Shows what I know, because it's been coming out a lot. Tiny, another hero. I do think Tiny we're going to see more, just because the games I have seen from it have looked really, really strong. Alchemist again, another one that's always liable to explode in the main event of a tournament. So we'll have to monitor those hero trends as the tournament goes on. So join us again tomorrow for the final day of groups. Only a short day with 3 sets of games going down, but they are the most important games of the groups, deciding who gets upper bracket, who gets lower bracket, and who gets eliminated in the case of Group B. Same time tomorrow, and we'll be looking ahead to the main event too, because we'll probably know the bracket, I imagine. I know the top 2 teams of each group choose between team 3 and 4 from the other group. I don't know when that takes place, but hopefully after the games have concluded. But in any case, we'll be here to discuss all the action, so join us again then.